Well, Celia, how come we wound up in Maple Valley? My mother's folks traded property over in Swat Prairie in eastern Washington in 1894 for property on Jenkins Prairie here south of Maple Valley. They came in the fall and the buildings were not suitable to live in, so they went on to Kent. My mother claims Cow Lake got its name from their cow getting drowned in the end of the lake when they moved to Kent. It's now Lake Meridian. My mother went to first grade in Kent, and they left Kent and moved to Evans, Skagit County. In 1917, my grandmother divided up 40 acres out on Jenkins Creek among her 4 daughters. And that's when we moved down here in November. My mother and father, Amelia McDougale, moved from Anacortes to Maple Valley in November 1917. There were 7 children in the family, and they all attended school at Maple Valley. Every place we went, we either went with a horse or walked mostly. And occasionally, when we had 16 cents, we could ride the train to Renton. We survived by wood cutting, and my dad worked for the PC Railroad part of the time, and we got along good. We had card parties among the neighbors, and square dance a little, swim, picnic, had lots of fun at Lake Wilderness. And in the mid-20s, my folks had a gas station on the Black Diamond Highway about a block north of the present Wilderness Village on the corner. Talking about log houses, I got a picture of one we lived in right there at that place. It was built in about 1923. And in the mid-20s, we had the gas station, and my folks had that up until 1946 when they moved to Renton. I stayed at home most of the time until in and around Maple Valley till 1926 or 36 when I got married. Then we moved to Seattle. And in 1946, my folks left and moved to Renton. I have 3 sisters in the Kennydale area, Renton at present, and 1 brother and 1 sister live at Shine on Hood's Canal. My father and 1 brother are deceased. And my nephew, Lee McDougale, now lives on the property at Maple Valley. Now you can ask
Frank, I'd like to ask a few questions here too. What grade did you start in when you came to Maple Valley?
I was in the 4th grade. My teacher was Miss Ryan.
Familiar name. How many were in your class then?
I don't remember. I remember we had 4 classes in each room, and I couldn't really tell you, but there was 4 grades in each room, and I went to school in what is now the bus depot. And there was 2 rooms of grade school, and high school was in the cloakroom in the front of the building.
You graduated from Tahoma too, didn't you?
No, I graduated from Maple
Valley. Excuse me. What year was that?
In 1925.
And how many was in the class then?
The class started with 17, and 4 of us graduated. Tano Niemo, Miriam Hines, and me.
Tano was, okay, young. Tell us about the bus you used to ride to school in.
Oh, that was the cattle wagon. We had lots of fun in the school buses. That was our favorite pastime.
How long did it take to get to school from, if you're on that bus?
Oh, half, 3/4 of an hour, depended on how far out you lived.
Who was the driver?
Mr. Swartwood.
You have to repeat our question.
No, that was before we came.
Yeah.
The original bus was a team of horses. I don't know who had that, but it was Model T Ford with a rack built on the back and benches down the side.
Are your mother still living too?
My mother still is living in Renton.
How old is she?
95.
You are interviewing. We learned last time that we gotta have our questionnaire up there, repeat our question. So, because remember it didn't show up on the tape.
Well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard.
How about his mother?
She is not in too good health. However, has a very good memory and is doing well.
When you went to school, you played a lot of basketball. What gym did you play in?
Well, by the time I got into the basketball, we had a new high school and grade school building, so we played in the old school. Which is now the, I guess the bus depot. I haven't been up there.
Bus garage, I think it is, Frank.
Yeah.
Well, as I remember it, the basket was about 3 feet lower than the ceiling.
Yeah, you had to be kind of catty to get it in. We played in Black Diamond. And you had to look out they didn't run you into a post up there.
What schools did you play at that time?
Oh, we played Renton, we played Meridian, Black Diamond, Foster. We made one trip to Richmond Beach. I remember the basketball coach at Meridian, we gave them a thumping, and so he wanted to get even with us. So he invited us to Richmond Beach.
Well, back to where you lived and whatnot, do you remember anything about Sandstrom Spur and Henry Switch?
When we came here, the mill building was still at Sandstrom Spur. And we had a skid road from there to our place, which is a mile and a half up the valley. And we cut wood and hauled it on a sled with horses to the railroad at Sandstrom Spur. But the Sandstrom mill was, the buildings was still there. They were using it for a barn for horses. A outfit by name of Kofelt and Luker, I believe, were building this Black Diamond Highway that goes down around by the gravel pit. They were building that road, and they had their horses and stuff there that they were using on the job. It wasn't open at the time we came.
How about the baseball field that we used to play out on Jenkins Prairie? Did you ever play baseball there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was about a 40-acre prairie there that didn't have nothing but nice grass and flat as a floor. And the neighborhood had a baseball team. We played Black Diamond all around over. Just something to have, something to do on the weekends.
You lived on Jenkins Creek.
Yeah.
And then the prairie out there is, of course, named Jenkins Prairie.
The creek comes out of a spring right on the property that we had.
Mm-hmm. You don't, do you know who the creek and the prairie is named after? Or?
Well, I tell you, if I knew what I know now, I could have found that out about 40 years ago. But I wouldn't be surprised that this property involved the prairie, part of the prairie and the creek, and possibly that's who they traded the land. I wouldn't vouch for that, but the prairie and the creek, that's all was on this property.
Frank, he remembers Lake Sawyer when the mill was running at Lake Sawyer, because Frank was, I believe he was swinging rig in there for the logging camp for them at that, several years ago. Is that right, Frank?
Yeah, I worked there.
Yes, that's a few years ago.
For my uncle.
Yeah, for her uncle. Yeah. You're talking about Courtney, how about me? It was a real friendly neighborhood.
They both turned red.
Carl, you got ahead of me.
There's one other thing I was going to ask you, Frank. On the road going down to your place, where that joined the Prairie Road, or what's called the Wax Road now, do you remember a store being there?
Oh, yeah. Clyde and Mary's Hideaway. Gas station and grocery store. It was. They came out from Seattle, built up a log cabin, 2-story log cabin, had a store and a gas station there for years. Mm-hmm. It's all gone now. There's nothing left of it.
That's about all I have. If the rest of you had questions you'd like to ask Frank, if you'll ask him, and then I'll repeat them to him.
Where's Jenkins Prairie now? Isn't that Wax Road?
The Wax Road is on this end of it. It'd be covered the Jenkins Prairie, yes.
You know where the Y is for the Mormon churches there? Well, it was, you went in that road and it was east of that. It's slowly closed in.
That's where the baseball field was.
30 acres at least that was there. And my mother said when she came through there, it was all prairie. Mm-hmm. Clear over to Covington.
Well, the land was so poor, it wouldn't grow anything.
Just a tree here and there. Nothing but there's 100 feet of gravel there.
Well, that's where we used to play baseball 60 years ago.
Yeah.
That's just open, you know. We had no other fields around, and schools didn't have any of those here. And everyone used to go up there and play baseball. I was youngster then. Frank was older. But they used to come from Hobart, Leatherdale, and all over, and that. They used to play baseball over there on top right.
Anybody have a question to ask Frank? Art will repeat your question. What about the names of families that may have lived nearby you when you were young?
Sybil asked about the names of families that might have lived near you.
The Nelson family, there was 2 of the girls went to school, Mabel and the other one's name? Clara.
What other people were in your class? You mentioned Nieva.
John Polis, and I don't remember. Anna Polis was, and Ella Bowman.
How about Eva Vickery, wasn't it?
Eva Vickery was, yeah. Eva and Miriam and Tano and I graduated together. And it's hard to remember, it's quite a long time ago. the ones that started, but I remember there were 17 of us when I was in the first year of high school, in my freshman year, and only 4 of us graduated.
Do you remember, excuse me,
Pardon?
What happened to the other 13?
he says, what happened to the other 13?
Oh, they got married and quit, some moved away, I suppose. But
Was Jane your student?
yes, of course, she's 5 years younger.
Frank, do you remember which, the first graduating class from Maple Valley?
I believe Ann McDougale, who was Ann Cooster, and her sister were.
But do you know what year that was?
1922.
1922.
That was the first year it was accredited, I believe.
Mhm.
The high school was accredited. And,
Yes.
You made the remark that 2 of the sisters from the Nelson family went to school. Did not all the kids in the area go to school? I mean,
oh, sure.
they did. They automatically
Well, they
started
were
in-
older, see, but they were within my age. Claire was just a little older, and Mabel was in my class.
But everybody started to school when they were first graders or whatever.
Oh, sure.
And then
Sure.
it tapered off as they got.
Well, of course, I was in 4th grade when I started. And,
Well, Frank was a rigger on the Garfield Street Bridge too. I remember that. My twin brother worked there, and Frank, and I believe Francis Dale. They were down there. They were the riggers there because they were loggers and so forth. Is that right, Frank?
yeah, I worked in construction logging all my life.
Yeah.
I was curious about lights and water. Everybody didn't have lights, did they at that time? Like in
Oh,
early
no.
20s
No, there was no power.
at all out here, huh?
Kerosene lamps, and then I remember all at once why we got a Coleman gasoline lantern. Well, then you talk about light, we had it.
This,
What did you do for drying clothes and things?
Put them on
No,
the
when
clothes,
when it rained.
hung them around in the house. No, there was no power to mount anything here until the late 20s.
Oh, really?
the grade school, when I started there, had a 32-volt light system. They had a generator with the glass batteries in the basement. And it had that for a number of years before they got commercial
Is that why
commercial
the
power.
water were always so high in the old schools? They used to go all the way.
No, I think that was just the way they were constructed in those days.
How about Indians? Did Indians run around out here?
In Anacortes was raised with Indians. They were part of the neighborhood. But I was amazed when we come here. The only Indian that I knew that was ever around here was a
George Bill.
yeah, George Bill. Yeah.
You gonna pass around your pictures, or you got there?
You can put that one in your deal if you want it.
You think you're giving it to us?
This one here.
Well, great. Do you know who they are? Do you have all the names on them?
I have all the names, and I think between the bunch of the people that are here, they can figure out the ones that I don't know, but I know most of them.
Have you got them written on the back or on a piece of
But
paper?
she's got it here on a paper.
Well, good. If you
Oh,
pass
see.
it around, then somebody can check it. Here's a clip.
I think those people over in the corner over there can probably answer most of the questions.
That's the high. That's the
Like to ask you, Frank.
1924.
One thing I'd like to ask you, years ago, as far as I know, anyway, we never locked our doors to our house or our barn.
That's the girls' basketball
Never
team.
had to. Not a thing. Now, goodness sake, if you don't lock everything up, you leave your car out for 5 minutes while you left find your car gone, or something broken on her, something stolen. Years ago, we didn't have that problem.
That one there is our house at the gas station. That was built in about 1922, I would say. And that's my brother and my sister and my brother and his wife. You can't see his wife very good, but Bernadine Gaffney and my sister were great friends. And that's a picture of Bernadine, and that's my nephew, the one in the car. That's a 1927 Model T Roadster.
Rumble seat.
I don't think that had a rumble seat. I don't think them rumble seats come till about 19...
Frank and Bertha, we thank you very much, and Art, we thank